Finally, a game that understands what gamers want. Mistfall Hunter is on its way to be a massive success. The Steam DB charts are going up, up, and up every single day. New people are joining and people are enjoying the experience. It's 25 euros at this point, so it's a pretty easy buy for most people. 30 for our American friends in USD, and it's a great experience. Most people are enjoying themselves. I did review slightly this game when it came out day one, and at that point, people were a little bit mixed because the combat was pretty decent, but it wasn't the greatest. It was a little bit lacking in that umph. Build variety, not really that great. It had a lot of issues, but it had also a lot of potential. And the deciding factor, I said, is gonna be, is this gameplay loop just interesting enough for people to repeat it 100 times? Because it doesn't really change that much. And, well, days after now, we know the answer. And the answer is yes. People are loving the loop in general. People are finding it fresh and exciting every single day. Honestly, kind of reminds me at this point of Arc Raiders, that every run just feels different and unique. And it seems like this game has managed to capture it. And I hope it's going to be successful because good games deserve success.
That having a famous name like Halo attached to it would give a game like Halo Campaign Evolved a major competitive
Look at the jiggle physics, it's beautiful.
advantage over pretty much every other video game out there, resulting in them outselling almost everyone. Just imagine how bad you would have to F up in order for that to not be the case.
Oh, what a loser!
If you want to understand the thrust of what I'm going to be talking about in this video, it all comes down to taking a look at the female characters in both of the games, Mistfall Hunter and
Oh no, I want to look at this and not the Halo girl boss, okay? The foids does not appeal to me.
Halo Campaign Evolved and comparing them to one another. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Mistfall Hunter is a game that was developed by an unknown studio from Hong Kong. It is a live service style game made by a team that is roughly the same size as something like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, just to give you some perspective. This is what we would call a AA game. Anyhow, this smaller team's game has female characters in it that look like this, which gives you an idea
Based and relatable.
as to why people have been flocking to this title. A simple three-word phrase can describe why gamers are drawn to a design like this.
I love boobies!
Meanwhile, the AAA game Halo Campaign Evolved is absolutely the opposite. In this game, they added this character here to the new missions of the game. She's
Oh, come on, we don't need this. Delete it.
a snarling, ugly-ass girl boss whose sole purpose seems to be showing the audience that female soldiers can be right on par with characters like Master
Well, actually, better.
Chief in terms of combat efficiency. Meanwhile, they also took Cortana, who looked like this here a decade or so ago in Halo 4, and they transformed her into this abomination here, which is basically just a dude in a wig. And of course, this is
Sad. The longer you look at it, the worse it gets. We know.
perfectly emblematic of the attitude that AAA studios have had toward female characters for a while now. Western AAA specifically has been very against the sort of design that we see in Mistfall Hunters because they believe that is somehow damaging to women, and they believe the audience for this stuff.
Oh, they don't believe it's damaging to women. They believe it's damaging to themselves because they're ugly. The whole games industry is just infiltrated by a bunch of mentally ill and ugly people, and that's why they are subverting everything to something that they recognize, aka the worst of humanity.
for games in general is actually a female audience, but I think those are rationalizations to cover up a deep-seated belief system that pervades AAA gaming.
I think women and semen don't mix.
We knew what you think.
Well, Mistfall Hunter is the sort of small studio game that didn't have a whole lot of attention drawn to it at first, and it has been relying on...
I mean, it opened up from 0 to 20k people day one, slightly below Halo, and now it's 45 or something like that, 1,000 players. It doubled after the launch. That's very good. Again, the fact that the game did it is very impressive, because I personally thought that there's a lot of problems here that are gonna just get people to not be that interested. But all of that can be overcome because the loop in general is just enjoyable. Interesting, huh?
Word of mouth to bring new players in. It took a little while for them to start gaining traction, but now, and this is most likely something that won't shock you very much, but actually, these games were released on almost the same date, and it looks like Mistfall Hunter is roughly on par with, and in many ways outperforming Halo Campaign Evolved, based on the limited information that we have about the sales numbers for each game. And if you had told me even just a few years ago that a Halo game would even come close to the performance of a small AA game that is just starting to gain attention, I would have thought you were insane, but such is the state of Halo Studios these days, where they refuse to give gamers what they want, and so they are poised to get their asses kicked by a game like Mistfall Hunter.
Your balls drop off? What happened?
Mustn't ask us, not his business.
Yeah, it is. Well, I wouldn't call it sad as someone who was never a Halo fan to begin with, but it is deserved.
Alright, me hearties, we're going to take a look at the numbers for Mistfall Hunter versus Halo Campaign Evolved, but before we do that, please allow me to dispel one of the biggest excuses that will be made by the Halo simps out there that will
I don't think the Halo simps are even defending Halo at this point. I think people are done. Halo has died to apathy the same way Bethesda has. It's not looking good.
undoubtedly be someone thinking that this isn't a fair comparison between these two games because Halo is available day one on Game Pass. But guess what? So is Mistfall.
Halo available on Game Pass meant literally absolutely nothing. By the way, nice armor. Where was I? Halo being available on Game Pass meant nothing. It probably had 4 times or 5 times less players than on Steam. And on Steam, the numbers weren't good. It peaked at 25k, and that was the weekend. Halo almost was not in page 1 of the Microsoft storefront by most played games. It's a disaster.
Hunter. That game was also a day one Game Pass title, so we really are comparing apples to apples here. In fact, if anyone in this head-to-head release competition is operating at a significant disadvantage, it is Mistfall. For cripe's sake, take a look at the Metacritic score for this game. You will notice that Mistfall...
Is it now like above 60 or whatever it was previously?
Hunter does not have a review because the game journalists haven't bothered to actually review this game, and I refuse to believe that
I mean, we don't really care about the opinions of game journals now, do we?
This is because there's just too much work on their plate to be done or anything like that. This time of year is a dead zone for new releases. This is most likely the journalists just refusing to talk about the game. This is a strategy that they employ all the time whenever there is something from a small or unknown studio that they disagree with philosophically or which has something in it that they object to. They know that if they review this game, even if they give it a bad score, it will draw attention to them, so they just ignore it. They did the same thing with games like Lollipop Chainsaw Repop, the first Berserker Kazan, and even Marvel Rivals got this treatment. When it first released, nobody...
The only ugly character is technically this one, but even this one's not bad. There's one picture of her not looking that great online, and that's pretty much it. But as you can see, still pretty decent.
When it first released, nobody would review that game, and the few game journalists who talked about it mostly only did so in the context of condemning it, at least at first, until that game got way too big to ignore. And it was because they can't stand games that treat female characters like they aren't, just hulking brutes with muscles like Arnold Schwarzenegger and a personality like Rosie O'Donnell. Meanwhile, obviously tons of journalists have reviewed and talked about Halo, so with that in mind, let's take a look now at the numbers for these two games. Now,
actually, this PvP looks better. When I saw it firstly, it kinda was worse, but now it's a bit better, it looks like, huh?
Now at the numbers for these
What am I tweaking?
games. Now, first of all, I am going to show you the player counts for each of them on Steam in order to be as informative as possible, but to be clear, these actually aren't fair numbers because Mistfall Hunter is a live service game with reasons to keep players playing for much longer, and Halo is a single player campaign that lasts around 10 hours. So, while it is
Halo's also completely garbage and trash. I just want to look at pretty things. Makes me happy.
is amusing that, as you can see here, Mistfall peaked at around 44,000 concurrent players, while Halo here peaked at around 25,000, but that isn't necessarily telling of anything.
By the way, this is the Monday drop, which is not actually even that bad. Oh, actually, it's peak. Oh no, this is Halo. I was thinking if this. Wait, we need the other graph. There's the other graph. Ah, we lost it.
Of anything noteworthy, but what is important to note.
Yeah, look at this. This is the still. This is good. This is literally just 2 days old. Good numbers.
About these charts is this right here. Mistfall's peak number actually happened yesterday, and you have to keep in mind that the game has been out for almost a week now, having come out on July 29th. But as is often the case with smaller games, word of mouth causes their player count to shoot up over time. Meanwhile, Halo predictably had its player count number on its
Okay, here is the newest chart. If you are wondering, I'm gonna switch scenes so you can actually see my screen. Is this the one? Yes, this is the one. Okay, this is the newest one. Look at this. This was the peak, but he showed the Halo chart. By the way, I got a little bit confused. Wait a minute. But yeah, as you can see, this is the Monday drop. I mean, it's obviously like 20%, but that's not even that bad. It's Monday, and that's from the all-time peak, so that's pretty decent. And then on Tuesday, it stays the same, and currently, I mean, look at this 12. Look at this 12 and compare it to other ones. It's a little bit less, but it seems like it's growing. Well, it's going to be a little bit less, but people are enjoying this. I honestly thought that the game is gonna start going down right about here because it's not gonna get people to play it for that long. At this rate, this game may actually receive another peak player amount, and maybe at the end of the week. Who honestly knows? It's looking good.
Release date of July 28th, but this is the real indicator as to how well these games are doing. These are the numbers for Halo Campaign Evolved on Steam. Keep in mind that there really isn't much competition right now because there hasn't been much that's been released. But
yeah, at this point being, if you're Halo and these are your numbers, that's not good because there's nothing.
but they have dropped down to the 31st top seller on the Steam charts after about a week on the market. The negativity surrounding this game has really caused sales to slump from the look of things, and yet these are the Mistfall numbers, and they released just one day after Halo, but their spot on the list is just going up. They have currently jumped to the number 4 spot on the top selling list on Steam, and it is with that context in mind that I want to take a peek at the site VG.
The bow impact does seem good though. A lot of the sword attacks and impacts didn't seem that good, but the bow seems good.
Insights, they are usually the most accurate of the analytics sites who track sales numbers on Steam, and as you can see here, Mistfall Hunter has currently got an estimate of about 197,000 units.
I don't believe this. There is no way. There's no way they have only sold 200k units. The game's currently popping off, which means that the word of mouth is spreading pretty fast. So I would honestly double this at this point. Well, maybe if I'm being conservative, I would say 300k units sold
on the Steam platform, whereas here you can see that Halo currently edges them out with 202,000 units on Steam, but keep in mind...
No. Halo is probably close to 500k units sold. We know this, that a lot of the people just buy it a lot day one, so the sales day one aren't big. Their sales are close to 500k probably, but they're probably nothing at this point. They're barely selling a copy a day at this point. Well, obviously that's under-exaggerated, I guess. But no. I do not believe these sales metrics. I have been right about the sales metrics still, even though they're harder to predict now because we're still in a transitionary period for them. But no, there's no way. I do not believe these sales statistics for both of these games. I also have no idea where he's actually getting them.
But keep in mind, first of all, that Mistfall was released a day later than Halo, and keep in mind what we just looked at, that Mistfall is trending up. This is one of those games which I was personally barely aware of prior to the past few days when social media informed me that it existed, and obviously I pay attention to this stuff quite a bit, so if even I had
How did I find out that it exists? I don't remember. Was it also social media?
barely heard of this game until there was a lot of talk about it on social media, then you have to imagine that most people are just finding out that it exists. It is likely that this game will easily overtake Halo in the next week here, considering the fact that Steam
I mean, it has already overtaken Halo.
is the most popular platform by a wide margin. If we assume that VG Insights is accurate, then it is reasonable to guess that both games have sold somewhere around 300,000 to 400,000 copies on all platforms combined. They're both available on Steam, PlayStation, and Xbox, but for a small...
We also have news that 1% of all copies sold for Halo was actually... Wait, was this in this video? No, I think it wasn't. 1% of all copies was sold on PlayStation. So again, it's very rare that PlayStation or Xbox needs to be accounted for in sales. Yeah, sometimes they make up like almost half of Steam sales. But, I mean, look at Marathon. Marathon's still the best example. It's literally a super Sony fanboy game. And the developers came out and literally said, oh yeah, PlayStation is just only 10% of Marathon's sales. Which is insanity. Insanity. 80% on Steam. Again, there are situations like, what was it? 007 First Light? Where it sold good on PlayStation. There was one game that actually shocked me because its sales were good. Oh! Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Right. That. It actually has a majority sales on PlayStation, which kind of actually shocked me. But that is one of the exceptions because it seems like the Assassin's Creed platform is just PlayStation in general. That's just a kind of an exception to the rule. We have a couple of exceptions to the rule, but the rule is that Steam is typically 80% of your sales if it's not an exceptionary situation. So, who cares?
AA studio that is just starting out like the devs of Mistfall Hunter. That's amazing. They are just building up steam, and if you like the gameplay video I've shown in the background, you should consider trying the game out. But if you
Again, it's 30 USD, 25 euros.
are a franchise as big as Halo, with
Or
a
wait, is it even 30 USD or is it 25 USD?
budget that's estimated to be something around $70 million, which was smaller only because this
Wait, what?
you are a franchise as big as Halo, with a budget that's estimated to be something around $70 million.
Oh, Halo's budget. I think it's 150. The stuff that they did, the changes that they did, the reports that we have are all pointing at 100 million plus at this point. And that was my initial suspicion because they're losing Halo. When you're losing, you're either going safe, which the biggest companies never do, or you're going kind of all in. And 150 million for a remaster is kind of all in. So yeah, that's why everyone's talking about Halo being on ice because Halo's not making that money back, boys. Halo's not even at the quarter mark of breaking even. It is just all over. In any case, that was Dr. Disaster, 10 out of 10. Have a nice day. Like the video. Takes less than a second. Do it right now, okay? It helps out a lot and I appreciate it. Like it right now. Takes less than a second. Bye.